I know. I disappeared into the night without any explanation. And I wish I could say that I've come back with a good one, but I haven't. My video idea is solid though. A special thank you to my patrons, Acrophobe Christina, Courtney EP, Wild Rose, J.M. Beans, J. Thomas, Lauren Chris, Michael B. Petty, That British Unicorn, Sky Anthropolis, Xanthal, Debbie Elliott, D. Higgins, Julia Q, and Kate O. All right. I know I kind of ghosted you guys a tiny bit. Work is a little crazy, and work probably will remain a little bit crazy basically until the end of April, I want to say, and then maybe it gets a little better. I don't know. It's a little hairy out there, and I just got overwhelmed with work. I actually haven't even filmed the video. I have all of my notes and stuff for it done. I will film it. Hopefully I'll have the video, the first half of it up Monday. God, I'm just doing it twice a month now. I'll have first half of it up on Monday, and then I'll cover her more recent week. And unfortunately, I wish I could say I'll be all caught up from the week after, but I'm actually going out of town. I'm going camping with partner and some friends, all socially distant, all separate camps, like tents and whatnot. So no worries there, but we are going camping. I need a little bit of a mental health break. Losing my absolute mind right now. I'm so busy and stressed. And so when this opportunity came up, I'm like, okay, I'm taking it. Anyway, very long way to say that probably video schedule will be a little weird. Normally I try and upload about 3-ish videos, but let's see what happens. I'll take my laptop with me and try and do as much as I can. I will have the Amber Alert up this Friday. As always, I'll probably have 3 videos up next week. At least 2 videos up next week. The third one is maybe. But let's see. Keeping our fingers crossed here. Anyway, today's topic is an interesting one. Even though I haven't discussed Chantal's entire week, you guys are aware of the fact that she has floated before in the past and now more recently again, the idea of getting weight loss surgery. Now, weight loss surgery for Amber is basically her white whale, right? It's like the one thing that she's like looking at in her life and going, this is, well, I guess white whale isn't the right thing. That was more of an obsession. I guess food would be AmberLynn's white whale in that she catches it, but then she takes a couple bites out of it every time and then lets it go. This is convoluted. It's her ace in the hole. She has one card left to play, and this is that card, and she thinks that this will fix all of the problems, and her health conditions are not dire enough that she's willing to actually try and go forward with it. I'm less hopeful than she is. I'll get into why. But I just think that she's pinning a lot on something that is essentially stomach surgery and not brain surgery. And what Chantal needs more than stomach surgery is brain surgery. Anyway, let's get into the actual makeup application, and we can continue talking. I will once again be working with my Persona Identity 2 palette. I am in love with the formula of this. I am just really liking it. It's such a great, usable, workable formula. I really recommend it if you guys are looking for like a very easy to use kind of a palette. Sorry if my hair is a little bit of a mess. I am having a lot of difficulties with it. It's just, I need a haircut so bad. I cannot. First thing I'm going to do the moment I am like fully inoculated is I'm going to go get a nice haircut. Let's start with some science. Yay! That's what everybody comes to for these videos. You know, they all come for the science. So there is some amount of evidence suggesting that weight loss surgery is actually pretty helpful for people who are morbidly obese, like Chantal is, like Amber is, quite honestly, right? About 65% of people who get gastric bypass, who get any kind of weight loss surgery, show success in losing weight. And I misspoke all of that. What I was trying to say was that about 85% of people have shown success in actually losing weight with weight loss surgery, with about 65% of their body mass on average, right? And about, of the 85% of people, 50% of that initial weight loss for those people is maintained. So for Chantal, that means that if she is 400 pounds right now, she could lose with weight loss an average of 260 pounds, which is a lot. And maintain about 130 pound net loss, which would put her at about 270 pounds, right? That is nothing to scoff at. I've always said this, and I really do feel it. The goal of weight loss here isn't aesthetics. I don't care if she ends up losing a bunch of weight and looks stunning. I mean, it'd be great if she did. I'd be happy for her, but that's not what the goal of weight loss here is. It's mostly just a life-saving measure at this point. It's not aesthetics as far as I'm concerned. And 130 pound loss would do her so much good. It would be just so much less pressure on her ankles, on her knees, on her hip. It would also mean that her fatty liver would heal a little bit. It could mean better things for her diabetes in terms of control. I just think it says it's great. Overall, I think that could be a fantastic amount of weight loss for her. She would still not be considered thin, but she would definitely be doing much better than she is now, especially in terms of her health conditions, you know? Now, there is some evidence suggesting that patients who have type 2 diabetes end up losing less weight overall than patients who don't have type 2 diabetes, though the evidence for that is a little bit weak, and more importantly, any weight loss is good weight loss for Chantal at this point. I did drop my cap. That's the sound you guys heard just now. Still, even if she loses less weight, right? Like I said, any amount of weight loss is good. And 90% of people who get weight loss surgery, even if they don't lose a lot of weight, tend to see a drastic change in their health, right? And it helps impact pretty much everything. Blood sugar, for one thing, right? Like diabetes, definitely it can help with that. High blood pressure, it can help with that. It can help with fatty liver disease. It can help with like stress, depression. All of these things are actually aided by it. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with like the secondary effects, right? Like you lose a bunch of weight, you feel good about yourself, you get compliments, and that can also help elevate your mood to a certain degree when it comes to depression and anxiety. Not feeling like you stand out of place, not feeling like you're taking up way too much space in like public spaces, that can also aid in like your anxiety when it comes to social situations. So I'm sure a lot of it is not just directly related to that, but still, that's still a fantastic thing. There are some pretty severe problems though, and this is where I really have the issue with weight loss surgery, especially in terms of Chantal, right? So a big one is addiction transfer. I've talked about it a little bit before. If you guys are looking for more information on addiction, and especially in terms of foodie beauty, I recommend checking out Smokey Stephen Mark's channel. They are fantastic. And if you guys haven't heard me talk about them before, you must be new. I talk about them a lot. I'm a pretty big fan myself. They do some great coverage. And they talk a lot about addiction transfer and terminal uniqueness and a lot of these other terms that, not being an addict myself, I hadn't heard of until I heard it from them, you know? So I really like their channel for that. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but my understanding of addiction transfer is that, weight is a symptom for Chantal as much as it is the cause of other illnesses. It is the fact that she is 400 pounds signifies that there is something else happening. People don't reach 400 pounds by accident. You don't just like eating food a little bit too much. Sometimes the amount of food that I see Chantal eat would make me nauseous just to even think about eating. And I am not a skinny legend myself, right? I can do a lot of damage when it comes to food, but nowhere near the kind of damage that Chantal or AmberLynn can do. And that's not by accident. I don't have food addiction. I might have some like overall mental health issues, right? Like I've talked about before, I have a therapist, but I have mental health concerns, I guess, but not like diagnostically. I don't have like a mental health condition, as it were. But either way, I'm not generally using food as a soothing mechanism. I overeat a lot of times, and I have talked to death before about how I had a hormonal imbalance and that led to some weight gain along with like just impulsively eating, and I'm still trying to work that off, right? Chantal and Amber both got to being 400, 500, 600 pounds because there is something deeper going on. They have something that they're trying to battle with food, right? They feel an emotion, and rather than trying to engage with their emotions in a healthy manner, they will just try and smother them with the endorphins released from eating food. And that has led to them to being this overweight. So if they no longer have the ability to eat the way that they're eating now, I feel like they might lose weight, but I feel like they might transfer that addiction to something else. In particular, opioids is a big one. When you have weight loss surgery, they will prescribe you a certain amount of drugs because hell, they just cut open your stomach, right? There's gonna be pain. And opioid addiction is unusually high in people who have had bariatric surgery. Also, you can't really use food as a comfort anymore, right? Depending on the type of surgery you have will depend on why, but that essentially boils down to you not being able to eat the way that you used to soothe the emotions that you had before with food. And so you might turn to something else. And I'm not saying it has to be opioids. It could be something like taking up smoking. Chantal already smokes a ton. And Amber already buys a ton of stuff. They definitely both overindulge. So I think that it's definitely a possibility that they might veer even more strongly into those areas. Another thing that can happen is developing something like graze eating disorder, right? Essentially what that means is that rather than eating one large meal or 2 large meals in a day where it's like 4,000 calories, you basically just continuously eat small amounts of food without realizing it. And everybody does this. Once more, most of these things, right, are on a spectrum. Everybody occasionally will eat like just 2 large meals in a day and not really eat anything, although just do, OMAD or whatever. But for people who have like the diagnosable quote unquote disorder, it essentially means that you're just basically continuously eating all day, right? And I worry that that might also be a route that especially like Chantal will end up taking. I think Amber tends to eat like more candy and food and whatnot in large amounts when she's binging. But Chantal, we've seen her. She will, like the most recent video that I watched of her was the homemade pizza one. And she has a pizza, and then immediately after having a pizza, it's only been a little bit of time, she ends up eating granola and yogurt and berries, and then a little bit after that, she ends up eating cookies and milk. And this is a 2-hour live stream, 2.5 hours, I think, a 2.5-hour live stream in which she's eaten 3 times. That is a lot. That is a lot of food. Like most people, I would say, don't do that, right? We eat every maybe 3 or 4 hour intervals. You will eat like one thing. The fact that they're eating this much, this frequently, and once more, it wasn't a small amount of granola and yogurt. That's a healthy meal. I'm not picking on the fact that what she ate, but rather that she ate at all, right? And then she had cookies and milk. Again, it's not like, oh, it's like a couple of bites or like a piece of candy or something like that. It's a substantial amount of food after having already eaten an entire meal, and a big meal at that. Another issue with weight loss is, but doing weight loss surgery at least, is the long-term follow-up. So the information on long-term follow-up is a little bit more weak than it is for the immediate, like 24 to 3 year sort of time frame, right? It's a lot weaker. We don't quite know at like the 10-year mark how many people are successful in keeping the weight off and in what percentages. And then more importantly, I'd like to know how many of them kept followed up with, psychiatric appointments, how many kept up with, any medication that they'd been prescribed, stuff like that. So that information is still a little bit weak, so I don't know. But from my understanding, even the odds with weight loss surgery, the odds of keeping the weight off aren't particularly high. And in the case of somebody who already has emotional eating problems, I feel like those odds would drop even more if those emotional eating problems are not addressed. Once more, I've used all of the regular products on my face. So I put the Camo concealer, the Maybelline Camo concealer under my eyes, the Maybelline powder under my eyes, and the concealer I used was the SuperStay Maybelline. I'm using a lot of Maybelline stuff. That's what I have on hand right now, though I'm not particularly like attracted to Maybelline for one reason or the other. And then the colors that I'm using, the primer I use is a very old Kat Von D anti-vax stuff primer that I bought. It's great, but they no longer make it, so it's irrelevant. And then the color I'm using is the color Loyal. It's lovely and great. It's like a pale color. I'm thinking I'll do like a little bit of maybe like Independent after that. So I'm going to smoke it out with some of the Limitless and then put Independent all over my lid. So far, though, we're just talking science. We're just talking theoretical and how it may or may not apply to Chantal. But there is another complexity that that is here, at least for Chantal, right? It's the Canadian medical system. And while I myself am Canadian, my experience has been mostly in in Ontario, in Mississauga, in Toronto, and a little bit in like more distant cities. But I don't have a very extensive understanding of the Canadian healthcare system, because most of the stuff that I utilize was just general use stuff because I wasn't all that sick, I guess. So a follower of mine, Christina, Christiana, thank you so much for the information, reached out to me, and she offered up like the details of going through weight loss surgery in Ottawa. So she herself is a weight loss surgery patient. She's already gone through her weight loss. She's lost a significant amount of weight, which, girl, congratulations. That is awesome. Weight loss is not easy, and I'll talk a little bit more about losing weight with weight loss surgery later on in the video. But genuinely, it's just, like I said, it's stomach surgery. It's not brain surgery. And so you still have to do all of that mental work to lose the weight, to keep it off. And that is amazing. Good on you. She told me a lot about her experiences with, going for the consultation, about the timeline, and I kind of wanted to share a little bit of that with you. I did look into it a little on my own too, to kind of get an idea, verify the information, to see if her particular experience with the Canadian healthcare system was normal, or if it was like atypical and she just like lucked out, or was she very unfortunate. And from what I can see, she had a pretty routine experience with weight loss surgery in Canada. So from the time that she was recommended weight loss surgery from her doctor, she basically took about a year to actually get the surgery. Part of that was a 6-month delay where she had to get a CPAP machine and wear a CPAP machine every single night, to show that it was something she could do. It's a requirement for getting weight loss surgery in Canada. Given that Chantal already wears a CPAP machine at night, that requirement would probably not apply to her. She both has the machine and is actively wearing it every single night. So that requirement can probably be waived. But, the one complexity that Christiana did not experience, but Chantal may, is the COVID. With the variants and whatnot happening, they might not actually be allowing surgeries to happen anytime soon, especially until everybody is more thoroughly vaccinated. I mean, we are definitely lacking in doctors and whatnot, just to deal with the pandemic. So they might be deprioritizing something like this, especially if the patient isn't like immediately going to pass away from their illness, which would make sense to me. I think Chantal also mentioned in her video that, they told her that it would be about a year wait. So they might just be telling her that in total, but it might also be that even with her, like in specific for her case, and not just generally, that everyone who gets weight loss surgery has to wait. I hope I'm being clear. What I mean to say is that they might have been telling her that for her particular case, it might take a year, and not that everyone who needs weight loss right now, it will take a year for them. So I don't know, not really sure, though it would make sense to me. That year makes sense to me. Another thing that I was really surprised to hear was that it took 4 months to heal. That is a lot. That is a lot of healing that has to happen. Chantal isn't particularly very clean, and honestly, I would worry about those wounds getting infected. I don't know if Pete's will be able to take care of her. Her mom is dealing with a lot as it is with her grandmother, and I'm assuming that even in a nursing home, that would be her primary occupation. Her mom is also probably not going to be a very young lady, right? If Chantal is 36 and her mom had her in her teens, say 16 years old, that still puts her mom in her 50s. And Chantal's still a heavy lady. Until she loses a little bit of weight, her mom might not be able to actually help her, right? So she needs to get up and move around. All of that could become very difficult. So that I don't know what the recovery time for Chantal would be on something like this, given her particular living conditions. The thing that surprised me the most, though, was that Canada, at least in Ottawa, is that there is no mandatory requirement for psychological counseling before getting the surgery. I'm very, very shocked at that. I can understand that the system's probably overburdened and they might not have enough counselors, but this seems so odd to me that they aren't recommending people get therapy to prepare them as thoroughly as they can before getting something like weight loss surgery, which can quite literally be life-changing, right? Both for the negative, I'm sure, but also for the positive. And to deal with those emotions in a healthy manner and not to turn to food. I think that if you really push for it, you can get it, and Christina said as much. But if you can't, right, I still think that the doctor should really highly be recommending it. And the fact that they don't is so very odd to me. The last part of this, the last part that I think presents a lot of complexity for somebody like Chantal in particular, is that you have to be put on a liver-reducing diet. And in Ottawa in particular, they recommend that you go on a diet that comprises of 4 shakes daily. It's probably going to be very low calorie, probably between 900 and 1200 calories. And the point of these shakes is that you're supposed to try and shrink your liver as much as possible so that when the doctors are performing the surgery, it's easier. Now, if you guys aren't aware, the way that the liver and the stomach sit are that the liver basically sits as kind of like a hat on top of your stomach. They're very close to each other. The larger the stomach is, the larger the liver is, and the closer it is to the stomach is to your liver, the more difficult it will be for a doctor to operate in that area. They're probably going to have to move it out of the way, and even then, there's like other organs, right? So you're not lifting the entire liver and just placing it on a table beside you. So they still have to work in that same area. And the bigger it is, the higher the chances that they could potentially damage it. And that can be pretty bad. I think I changed my mind. Rather than doing independent, I think I'm going to go with this bronzy color right here. And then I'll do some gold, resilient and unique. I think I'll do this like combination of these two. I don't know if Chantal is capable of going on a diet like that. She has shown no evidence of being able to stick to it. I mean, how many times have we seen her start a diet and basically within a day, be like, oh, I binged, or I decided to eat something else, or I changed my mind. And so I worry that the doctor is going to put her on something like this and forget 3 weeks. She's not even going to stick to it for 3 days. And going into surgery, they might either cancel the surgery on her last minute. And that might send her for an emotional tailspin. They might get to surgery, open her up, and then realize that this is not feasible. Or they might actually try and follow through with the surgery anyway, in which case, the chances of something going wrong are dramatically increased. And I don't want anything to happen to her, but it wouldn't surprise me if there were unforeseen consequences and there were complications that she wouldn't have had otherwise if her liver was smaller. And it also shows a level of commitment, I think. If you can keep to drinking a liquid diet for 3 weeks pre-surgery, it says that you have some sort of grip on your eating, and that afterwards, right, when you have to stick to an eating plan where you have to eat very specific foods, because depending on the type of surgery you have, it can lead to malabsorption and a variety of different things. You might have to be on a very specific, very tightly managed diet for a little while because you need to eat in a certain way so you don't become nutritionally deficient, right? Or you might just be restricted to the type of portions you used to eat before, right? So like you can't eat like massive amounts of food anymore. It has to only be like, 400 calorie size portions. Either way, I don't know if she can't even do the 3 weeks beforehand, if she can do the many months that she would have to follow something like this afterwards. I genuinely worry about something like that. By the way, I put the golden color in the inner corners of my eyelids on both sides, which I always love doing. I love using something that's a little bit more quote unquote colorful on my inner corners. And then I put resilient, the bronzy color all over. I know it's not very blended right now. I'll blend it in a second. But now I'm taking the color Unique and I'm basically just patting it very gently into the center of the lid right here to kind of highlight it a little bit, just to give it a little pop in the center. I don't know if Chantal can do that. And I worry that if she ends up eating way too much, or she tries binging the way that she did before to satisfy an emotional craving after she's had the weight loss surgery where her stomach can no longer accommodate that kind of food, she might end up doing a lot more damage to herself than she realizes, you know? And I think that that could actually have worse consequences for her than not having the surgery. She might need multiple surgeries to correct this kind of issue. I don't know if the surgery will fix all of the problems that she's hoping it will, because the problems that she wants to fix are that she wants to stop binge eating and that she wants to eat better. And unfortunately, I think those problems are more mental than they are physical. And until she addresses the mental, and I say this almost in every video, until she addresses the mental issues, she's never going to be able to conquer the physical ones. They have to at least come hand in hand. At this point, I can understand if Chantal wants to get the ball rolling for her physical health, because she really doesn't have much of a runway anymore. But that doesn't mean that she can completely ignore her mental health. She has to at least work on it. She has to at least try and improve it, because I feel and I worry that even if she does lose weight with weight loss surgery, she'll just gain it all back. Anyway, those are all my thoughts on weight loss. If you've had weight loss yourself, please do let me know. And to my lovely patron who helped me with this, I think I referred to you as Christina and Christiana throughout the entirety of the video. Please let me know which way to pronounce it. I am not sure and I don't want to do it wrong, but I am also an idiot, and so it happens. Thank you everybody for watching. If you like this video, I'm not done with my face look, and I know that I'm not done. It's actually going to be the rest of it. I will finish in a second video. I'm trying to film a lot right now because next week, like I said, I want to have some content up for you guys then too. So have to have it filmed and edited fast. Anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this video, you can give me a thumbs down. That's totally okay. I respect everybody's opinions here. If you want, you can follow me on other social medias. I've got them all linked down below, as well as this. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you want to know when I upload any videos right away, I've got all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram, where I've got food stuff and life stuff. And since I'm going on a little trip, there might be some extra life stuff. So look out for that. I've also got Twitter, where I have all of my thoughts, opinions. I talk shit a lot and just randomly say things. So that could be fun. And also you could see me fangirling over other creators that I really, really like. So that's where you can find that information. And I've got Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing here and you would like me to continue, hey, consider tossing a few coins in my direction. You don't have to. It's not necessary. But I would really appreciate it if you did. As always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel. And I am not relatable. Peace